Before the storm happened, we evacuated to Brooklyn, the entire family. We stayed there throughout the storm. The next morning on Tuesday, we came back to the house to inspect the damage in our property. We went to the garage and didn't see any water damage, so we assumed we didn't have any damage in the house. At that point, we realized other people needed help. So you did everything. We went to see how we can help. It started out with doing nightly patrols until 4 o'clock in the morning with some of the people in the neighborhood, trying to protect from looters because there was no power. And that soon changed into helping get gas and hooking up generators. We were concerned that people didn't have heat, people didn't have any electricity, they didn't have any food. That is when, through the Young Israel, I was given the title of Gas Czar. Whereas I was in charge of making sure we had gas, going out and getting gas from gas stations in New Jersey or Connecticut or wherever we can find a gas station that had gas to bring it back to the neighborhood so that the generators can have gas, the patrol cars can have gas, and anyone that really needed it. Over the course of the storm, we were probably responsible for bringing in about 1,000 gallons of gas for the community. When I spoke with the president of the shul in Belle Harbor, he told me there were Sifrei Torah sitting in the water, in the basement of a shul in 4 feet of water for almost a week, and nobody went in to get them. We need lights to get down there. We need equipment to find these Sifrei Torah that they're there. And they called Chesed Shalemis, they called the fire department, they called a number of people to come down to Belle Harbor to help get the Sifrei Torah out. When all was said and done, 2 Sifrei Torah were pulled out of the basement, out of the Aron Kodesh in the basement of the shul that were underwater for almost a week. We pulled out from the main shul about 14 Sifrei Torah that were dry, but the shul was vacant. There was no one there. They were not protected. Chesed Shalemis took all the Sifrei Torah to Borough Park for safekeeping, and we were able to help out Belle Harbor and set up resources for them so that they can get their houses, start getting their houses back in order, start getting their lives back in order, and we can provide as much assistance as we can to try and help them out.
After not having a husband for the first, I guess, week and a half, and I had no idea really for the first week why he was so busy. He brought me down to the Young Israel to pick up a generator that I begged for so that we could move back home. And I saw firsthand what was going on in the neighborhood. I really had no idea. I was in Brooklyn with his parents, and I saw people running around, having meetings. You know, Phil Goldfeder was there, Pesach, Osina was there, Hel Edelman, Brett Gordon, you know, Heshi, Shalom Klein. I mean, so many people, and they were just running around, you know, meeting here, meeting there, and I started realizing, wow, you know, I want to be part of this, let me help. Like, I was just so inspired by everything they were doing. I was so proud of my husband, and we asked his parents to watch the kids for a few days so that we can bring people into our home if we got the generator up. People were freezing, and I wanted to really be able to spend time in the shul, which was really a shelter at that point, to help people and see what I could do. I, you know, saw a lot of really, really traumatized people in the shelter with babies just crying, hurt, scared. You know, my training is being a social worker, so first thing I did was some trauma, you know, relief, just sitting with them, bringing them drinks, helping with the clothing a little bit, and took some phone calls, and then I felt like I could just do more than that. There were a lot of people helping. It was getting really busy, and I didn't want to get in people's way. I wanted to just be the best help I could be. And I walked down to Brett Gordon one day and I said, what can I do? There has to be something else that I could do. There's so many people here, give me a bigger job. You know, I really want to do something, you know, really helpful. And he said, actually, there's been a lot of grants coming in, and we've been losing them because nobody has time to sit and gather all this information that they want. They need specifics of what family lost. Like, every last item, families don't want to fill out forms. I tried that, and then it felt too demeaning to them to fill out forms. We need a way to get to them. I said, I could do that. You know, I know how to talk to people. Like, that's what I do. So let me sit with them. I'll sit with the families. I'll make it a conversation. I'll be there for them. And then as I'm talking, I'll gather this information. And I guess my part really grew from there. I had no idea what I got myself into because it became a project bigger than I ever imagined, and a very long-term project. I sat with families. I had to ask them down to what size underwear some of them wore, and it was just so amazing to have to sit like that with a family and make them so vulnerable to share with me what size everything they had was, so that I could get them exactly what they lost, hopefully. And it ended up being over 100 families that either I spoke with personally or I asked other people to help me out and make some phone calls. And it ended up being a lot of funding that came through that project. It was a Chesed fund. It was Mr. Kogel from Muncie with the WH Relief, who hooked us up with so many things, appliances, clothing. And then it was Rabbi Avram Khan from Kojo, who brought in a tremendous amount to the community, from credit cards with money on it right there for families to spend on whatever they needed immediately, to appliances, to beds. I have pictures of hundreds of beds on the front lawn of the Young Israel. And after the shul, you know, went back to normal and everybody went back to life, the two of us were not back to life at all. My husband saw what kind of a mess I got myself into, basically. I hadn't been sleeping, I hadn't been eating. He was yelling at me to stop it and give it to somebody else. Just like he was so concerned about families not sleeping and being freezing, and I didn't understand why he was going, I had explained to him my concern, that these families will not get the money. There's so much money out there that they're gonna lose because they don't know how to get to it, and nobody's gonna sit here and do it for them, and I'm here doing it. If I stop, how are they gonna get it? So I felt like I just couldn't stop. I was working from morning till night, doing these phone calls, putting everything into data, and then my husband and I just joined together because things kind of settled with the generators and we did it together. And this was our life in our home for a really long time. We had visitors come straight to our home to pick up their cards, to meet Rabbi Khan himself, and our house became sort of Grand Central for a lot of the recovery work following the first few weeks. There was really a tremendous amount of people involved in the hurricane recovery here at Bayswater. It would be almost impossible for me to name every single person involved. It was truly inspiring, just walking around in the hustle, you know, with so many people running and everybody had a specific job and everybody wanted to help each other. I'm envisioning in my head, it's just so many people that I met, that I now know, that I never met before, who were involved in this process. And I hope that, you know, I'm not, you know, offending anybody, but not including them in name. It's just, I don't want to leave one person out by trying to name every person that I remember, because I would hope, you know, that I wouldn't miss somebody.
So many people offered to help Bayswater, offered assistance, whether it's funding or appliances or furniture. I wanted to thank some of those people specifically who came through in a big way for us. One of them is Davi Kogel from Muncie, who was tremendous with the recovery, be it clothing or furniture or appliances that he offered us. Another one is Chaim Heller, who fundraised in Flatbush and other neighborhoods to raise over $500,000 for Bayswater and Seagate. $250,000 came to the families, directly to the families of Bayswater. Another is Flatbush Hatzalah, who were very helpful to us, Reb David Cohen specifically. And last but obviously not least is Rabbi Avram Khan from Kojo Flatbush, who was tremendous with our neighborhood. He brought in over $200,000 in cash for the families, 75 washers and dryers for the families, ovens and refrigerators, so that people can get back to where they were before the storm and start living their lives in a normal way. This entire experience from Hurricane Sandy has brought a tremendous feeling of warmth for the neighborhood of Bayswater, to me and to my wife, where we see so many people just coming together, so many people helping out each other when somebody needs help, when somebody is down. There are so many people willing to help, willing to take them in, willing to give them a warm meal. There are so many people that were instrumental in helping out that we can't even list all those people.
Even people with damage to their own homes. You know, at first we didn't even realize we had damage, but I'm talking about people who at first knew they had damage, lost, you know, their entire basement, and some of the first floor were heavily involved in recovery. Nobody wanted to say, oh, I'm hurting. They wanted to say, how can I help other people who are hurting? And it was the most beautiful experience to be part of. It was really, really a moving and inspirational experience for both of us.